Vamos a hablar de acuerdo de adjetivos, adjective agreement. So, with adjectives in Spanish, there are two important things to remember. The first is that adjectives follow a different order in Spanish than they do in English generally. So, in general, in English, we would say the tall woman. Our adjective comes before our noun. In Spanish, most of the time, these will be reversed. I'm going to relabel that with a better N because I want you to understand that's a noun. Okay. So in Spanish, we would say la, which is the word for the, mujer, the word for woman. So there's our noun, sustantivo in Spanish. Alta, our adjective, which means tall, is at the end. So in Spanish, you tend to put the adjective after the noun. The second important feature to remember with adjectives in Spanish is that they have to agree. So we talked about in conjugation where you have to make your verb match your subject. In Spanish, you have to make your adjective match the noun that it modifies as well. Adjectives are only divided into a 2x2 grid. They're divided singular and plural like verbs are. And then they are divided by masculine and feminine, masculino, femenina. In Spanish, every object has a gender. Now, this is not a gender like we think about a gender for a person, although obviously they do follow along those lines. In Spanish, every object, like a table, la mesa, is feminine, or el lápiz, a pencil, is masculine. Generally speaking, words that end in O are masculine, and words that end in A are feminine. And just like in English, if you see an S on the end of something, it usually is plural. There's a few exceptions, but not a lot. So if it is masculine and singular, it will end in O, and you will make your adjective end in O. If it is feminine and singular, it will end in A many times, and you'll make your adjective end in A. Plural masculine, OS. Plural feminine, AS. Now, there are a few adjectives like grande that don't end in an O or an A. If it ends in some other letter, often an E, then you don't have to worry about gender for these. Don't worry about gender. Doesn't matter. Instead, you just would make it singular or plural. El libro grande, singular. Los libros grandes, plural. So let's look at how this would work with a single adjective. The word short in Spanish is bajo. Notice it ends in an O, so we are going to worry about both number, singular, plural, and gender, masculino, femenina. So we have un chico, a boy. We want to say a short boy or a boy short in Spanish. Chico ends in O, we're going to make bajo end in O. Un chico bajo, the short boy. Una chica, a girl. I want to say a short girl. I'm going to make the O changed to an A to match chica. Una chica baja. Unos chicos bajos. Notice I made it OS because this is OS. Some short boys. And unas chicas bajas. AS, AS, AS for feminine plural. Let's do an example with one like grande, and then we'll do one more additional example, and you'll be ready to go. So, if I want to do grande, and let's say I'm talking about el hombre grande. Actually, let's do a different one because that can get confusing. Let's say I want to say the big pizza, la pizza. Well, normally I'd be worried about making it match and making it feminine. But grande doesn't end in an O, so I don't need to change it. It can just be grande. But if I have las pizzas, I still need to change it to las pizzas grandes. Don't have to change ones that end in E or any other letter that's not O or to match masculine, feminine, but you still need to match number. What if instead it's the word that doesn't end in an O or an A? Well, that doesn't mean the word doesn't have a gender. So for example, estudiante means student. So you could have a male student or a female student. If I want to say the studious student, because I'm being crazy, I have estudios. I need to decide, is this an O or an A? If it's masculine, if it says el estudiante, well, then I use estudioso. But if it's la estudiante, referring to a female student, I would make it estudiosa. You can look at the word the or the a or an to also determine gender. Buena suerte. Adios.